We do have breaking news. Just moments ago, the Federal Appeals Court does not allow Donald Trump to remove Lisa Cook from her post. I'll just read from the order. Upon consideration of the emergency motion for stay pending appeal and administrative stay, the oppositions thereto, and the reply, the motion for leave to participate as amicus curiae filed by the Separation of Powers Clinic and the Lodge. Yes. This is the order. The motions for leave to participate as amicus curiae be granted. The clerk is directed to file the amicus briefs. They go down. This is Judge Childs, Circuit Judge Garcia, joined by Judge Childs. They note about that Trump said he found cause. They talk about how the district court issued its preliminary injunction, and then they go on to underscore that, again, Donald Trump will not be able to remove her. As we'll comb through this a little more, can you just give us your hot take on this?
This is a movie we've seen before many times, actually, right? Trump tries to fire an independent person. The district court says, no, you can't do that. The appeals court says the district court got this right. No, you can't do that. The next step here is the administration presumably is going to rush to the Supreme Court, say we have an emergency. Can you put a stay on this order? And what the Supreme Court does is anyone's guess, to my mind. They put in so many stays that they shouldn't have put in place to help the Trump administration that it would not surprise me if they put in a stay here as well. Hopefully they know that they should not do that. They seem to have recognized that the Fed would be a particularly problematic third rail for them to touch. But that is, I think, where we're headed here. We'll see what the administration does.
And this means tomorrow, when the Fed starts meeting about what to do about interest rates, Lisa Cook will be there, and presumably this guy from the White House will also be there, and we will see if President Trump continues to bully or figure out a way to push more of
a key line from this court.
When you say we will see that, how? How will we see that?
We might see it.
When will it be obvious to us?
Well, there's always the 2 a.m. Trump social posts about some new allegation. But I think that's the question of how the Fed decides about whether to cut rates and how much. I think many people are just no longer assuming that it is not partially driven by politics. And the era of Fed independence, I think, is over now.
Michael,
looks like she will have company, right?
Oh, yes. We can confirm that Myron has been confirmed by the Senate while this show has been happening. Key line from the order, given that Cook has a property interest in her position, she is entitled to some kind of process before removal. The court is saying in this order, you just cannot dismiss people by social media posts. You have to have a process. And they are siding with Lisa Cook, saying she deserves that process, and she is now going to get it.
Well, let's see what kind of process they create.
Yeah, because some kind of is in quotes from the judges themselves.
They're not saying an evidentiary hearing. They're saying some process.
Some process.
And I think that might be an invitation for some.
Elucidate that. What could that look like?
Well, I don't know. I hate to speculate based on an opinion I haven't read just yet. But I don't know. An internal process could look like something like an internal sort of administrative tribunal, not an actual tribunal, but present some allegations. You get an opportunity to respond. There's sort of some internal referee, but I don't know what a fair process would look like in this administration, given everything that they've done so far. I mean, they've already made clear that they're not particularly interested in a fair process. They're interested in a political outcome.
I want to go back to Simone's core argument, though, which is the only action we have seen is when someone actually makes the choice to stand up, to push back, and to fight, even if that comes at great personal expense, even if that creates personal exhaustion.
And that's been the tale of the tape for the very few law firms that push back, the very few individuals in the federal government that have pushed back, the universities that have pushed back. There is value in standing your ground on principle, on the principle that there is a process, there's a legitimate legal process, there are economic realities, all these things that flow into the conversation for people. So I'm with you at the end of the day, Ankush, because I think that this Supreme Court has been so compromised via its other opinions. I don't see how now it just sort of swings around and suddenly finds the value of the rule of law and will say, oh, we'll stay simply because we want some other process to happen. And that's the problem we have here. And so here we are.
And look at what the Federal Reserve Board weighed in the court, that they have no opinion on whether Lisa Cook was illegally removed or not. And that's just another example of people just willing to give in.
I mean, literally, Jerome Powell's done a very good job at defending himself in the wake of exerting
But
the
not so
president
much.
trying to exert authority over himself, but he did not defend his fellow governors.